Hello, this is Caitlin with the I Killed My Own Killer podcast, here to help you kill all of your daily goals, whether that's financially, physically in your health, spiritually, or relationally as you encounter many people throughout your day, family and friends. Life is hard. It's tough to keep up the balance between work and family, friends. Stuff happens. So that's what we are here to talk about and help you kill your daily goals. We don't start each podcast off with a sponsorship, but we do start each podcast off with an encourager. An encourager is somebody that inspires you and encourages you throughout your daily walk, and mine for this episode is Elizabeth Wiley. I met her online in a vegan community whenever I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And for my first impression of seeing her online, I was like, man, she's a girl who's a boss, who's vegan. Those are my top three things that I love. So I knew I had to friended her on Facebook, and every single day she's posting something encouraging, some way she's stepping up in her career, doing something with her own business. And I can imagine being a single woman in today's crazy world, but she looks like she is killing it. So in this podcast, we dig deep into her walk with entrepreneurship, her vegan journey, and how she's being a boss babe as a single lady. So enjoy this episode and let us know what you think. Cool. Well, while it's rolling, Elizabeth, tell us about yourself.
So I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am 31 years old, and as you mentioned, I am plant-based, vegan. I have like a plant-based, a whole foods plant-based diet or vegan. I'm a Christian. I have my own holistic health education business called Healthy Nuggets. I have a YouTube channel where I educate people on holistic health. And that's really been like a big focus for me this year, especially when everything happened with the virus. Like, of course, people can still, that's a great way to reach people is through a podcast or through YouTube and things like that. So I was already on that journey. And then when that happened, I was just like, oh, I'm glad I'm already doing this because this is a great way for me to continue to help people and reach people. And so when I say that holistic health, because a lot of times I say that and people are like, wait, what? Like, what is holistic health? What is she talking about? So holistic health is basically your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, your financial health, your spiritual health, as well as your physical health. So it's encompassing all aspects of who we are, all the aspects of our lives, and bringing them together to like balance it out and find wholesomeness, balance, wellness in all areas. Because if we're just trying to lose weight or exercise, we're missing it. And that's been my journey. So I share a lot about that on my YouTube channel. I do like healthy reviews where I go into grocery stores and review products or people send me products. I have a series called Healthy Swaps where I'll go in the grocery store and say like, hey, maybe instead of eating Doritos, maybe you could eat this type of chip. Like just those little things that you can swap out just to try to make healthier choices. And I have also a talk show. But last year inside of my business, or really for the last 2 years before the pandemic happened, I was most known in my business, Healthy Nuggets, which my Instagram is healthy_nuggets, was making and selling vegan food. So I would go to all these events where tons of people would be back when we never thought we would be in the situation that we are now, where you can't even be around that many people. But I would go to all these events and I would make and sell vegan, gluten-free, healthier options, mostly my Better Way Alfredo sauce and pasta, and I will always sell out. So that just came through a passion. As you know, when you go vegan, you're like, man, I miss eating this or I miss eating that. And Alfredo was one of those things. So I was like, you know what, trying all these vegan Alfredos. I was like, why is this so nasty? And so I just finally started playing around, found different recipes and kind of tweaked it and made it for my friends. And they were like, this is not vegan. I was like, yes, it is. One day decided to sell it, sold out. I was like, oh, I think I'm onto something. So I just wanted people to realize that they could have something like Alfredo that was vegan, plant-based, and a healthier option. So that's a little short version of a few of the things that I do and who I am. And there you go.
I all, and I feel like this is one of the things where it's really the law of attraction, because you are everything that I love. Just hearing about your business and what it's totally what the I Killed My Own Killer brand is about, like killing your daily goals in all of those aspects of life. Because if
Yeah.
you are eating healthy, then your relationship sucks, or if you're eating healthy and your finances aren't in order, holistically, you're not all together. You want to try to work on all of it. So thank you so much for sharing that about you. And the Alfredo sauce, oh my goodness. Like, I haven't even tried, but I feel like I need it in my life, because I was going to a lot of those events, and I remember you sold out, and I never got a chance to have it. And like in the movie Twilight, Jacob prints on like his soulmate. I feel like I've imprinted on that pasta sauce, and my life will not be complete until I get a taste. Like that's really that your business offers that. And I had no idea Healthy Nuggets was all of that. Honestly, I just thought it was like maybe a vegan brand or something like that. But for me personally, whenever I was vegan living in Atlanta, it was easy because there were so many options. And then I got pregnant, I was traveling a lot. So the vegan life for me was not as easy, and I picked myself back up. And a lot of vegans would be like, oh, you're not 100% vegan, you're not a vegan. And I didn't want to give myself that stereotype or that label of being vegan, because my previous OMG KFV, Caitlin's freaking vegan. Well, whenever I attached vegan to it, I felt like the world was ready to condemn me. They were ready to make a mistake. And whenever I went on that, what is it, the Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A sandwich, and I tried a sandwich. And Barat, he was like, wait, you're not vegan anymore? So I'm slowly working my way back to that vegan lifestyle. But for you, are you 100% plant-based right now, or do you give yourself grace in those areas?
First of all, I want to say that I hate that. Like, and I get it. Like, I feel like, I know we're both plant-based, we're both Christian, and it can be like that. You can experience that in both of those worlds, where it's like, if you're not a perfect vegan, you're just not vegan. Or if you're not a perfect Christian, you're just not a Christian. And it's just like, no, like, that's not exactly how this works all the time. Like, so I hate that you experience that, but I've even been guilty of that at different times in my life, just putting too much pressure, one, on ourselves, and two, on other people. And just like you said, I love that you said giving grace. Like, are you giving grace to yourself, or are you giving grace to other people? And so anyways, I am 100% plant-based. The only time that I'll find myself like, and see, for again, like, I feel like everyone's experience is different. So like, for me, I could not sit and eat like a piece of real dairy cheese pizza or an actual piece of chicken, and things like that. Like, I literally think I would throw up, probably because it's been so long since I've had animal products. Like, I couldn't just eat up a straight up egg. But I have, because I was pescatarian / vegetarian for, oh my gosh, years. And then I kind of slowly transitioned into a vegan diet or a plant-based diet. And so I've probably been plant-based or vegan maybe for like 4 years. But before that, for like 6 years, I was pescatarian and vegetarian. So it's been a whole journey. In the beginning, it was all about animals. Then as I transitioned and just learned, it became more about health, and then turned into holistic health. And so in my whole journey, especially the last like 4 years of being vegan, the only like grace I would say, and again, I like the way you put that, is if, let's say, I'm at like a party and there's not really any vegan options or whatever, and maybe I did eat before I came, because we have to be prepared at all times when you're trying to live this lifestyle. But maybe somebody made homemade cookies and they look really good and I want to eat one. So I might eat a freaking cookie. You know what I mean? And it might have a little bit of butter or something in it. But like, that is like the grace for me, is like, okay, that doesn't, because I ate one cookie 2 years ago at a party, doesn't mean I'm not vegan. It means I was at a party, I saw a cookie, I wanted the cookie, I ate the cookie. You know what I mean? So it's just like, in some, like, that would be the part where I will find myself sometimes being like, okay, like it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? And that's not a every day, every month, every year thing. It's just like in a random situation where I'm just like, oh man, I really want to try this cookie that they just made, but it might not be 100% vegan, but I am going to go ahead and try it. But
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis, 98% of the time, yeah, my diet is 100%. I mean, I just said 95, but you get what I'm saying. A whole foods, plant-based vegan diet.
Yeah.
And I think what people have to understand is I personally enjoy eating that way. Like, it's not a burden to me. It's not like, oh my God, I wish I was eating steak. I'm so sad. I'm so deprived. Like, no, I like eating like this. So it makes me happy. It makes me feel good. And I think when we look at it that way, you're not like, oh, I want to go eat chicken. Like, you're just kind of like, I like what I'm eating. But if you want to go eat a piece of chicken, like, that's your business. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Like you were saying earlier, the more you live that lifestyle, the easier it becomes. And that's kind of the same thing with just like health in general. If you're sticking to a clean diet, even if that's eating chicken breasts and green beans or whatever it is for you, you're going to start to become more repulsed by unhealthy foods because your body's getting used to that clean diet.
Exactly.
That's just how you choose to live your life. And the term grace with all of that, God gave me that. I'm telling you, like, I had like a whole humbling journey from God, and he showed me those two parallels between vegans and giving grace to somebody and just Christians not giving grace to one another. So I like how you saw those two hand in hand, because that's exactly how it is. So I want why plant-based for you? Because for me, a lot of it is my dad dying at an early age, his dad dying at an early age, and I talk about that in my book, I Killed My Father's Killer. So for me, the motivation to go hard and go vegan was because of the generational curse that I had of heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So for you personally, what made you go plant-based?
For me, honestly, like I said, I actually became vegetarian or pescatarian. It's probably been like 10 years now. Like I think I was either in high school or had just graduated high school. So it's been at least 10 years. But originally, like, this was when social media was still kind of like just coming about. So I don't even think Instagram existed yet. But I did have a Facebook page, and I remember just being on Facebook, like on the computer, and saw a video of the animal abuse, and I just started watching it, and I was just like, is this for real? Like, this has to be a joke. Like, this can't be like serious. And so before you know it, I was up until 6 o'clock in the morning that night watching and researching, and I was bawling my eyes out. Like, I already knew about animal testing. I had actually did a paper in school to like be educating people on what animal testing was. So I was already sensitive to like the needs of animals and like animal abuse and stuff like that. So to then find out that my whole life I never questioned like where my food came from, how it was treated, how it was raised, was it good for me, was it healthy, like that was just never a thought. And it was just like the biggest mind blow up for me. Like I was just like, what? My whole life is a lie. Like and so literally at 6 o'clock in the morning that day, whatever year that was, I literally was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not eating meat anymore. And I didn't know, it was only about the meat industry. So I didn't know about dairy yet. I didn't know about the fish industry and all that stuff. I didn't know about the health stuff. It was just like, this is unnecessary animal abuse, and I'm not going to continue to participate in this. And the next day when I woke up probably at like 12 noon, because I was so tired from staying up all night, I told my parents, I was like, yeah, like I'm done eating meat. And they laughed. They laughed at me. They were like, ha. They're like, right, good one. That's a phase. And now, like, my mom, it's 10 or plus years later, my mom will still be like, so you sure you don't want to eat me chicken? And I'm like, Mom, I think I'm good now. Like, it's been a long time. She's like, well, just in case you change your mind,
girl. That's hilarious. But wow, I can totally relate to that. people can, just because whenever that documentary came out with the health, everybody was trying to go vegan. Everybody was like,
right.
I have all these health repercussions. So a lot of people went hard in their plant-based lifestyle, but then it slowly started to fade away. So for you, like, what inspired you, or what kept you going? Because I know you watched a lot of those videos, and it can really imprint something in your heart. But what kept you? Times got tough.
Man, I honestly think that the reason why I've remained plant-based for so long, or why I've even remained vegetarian, pescatarian for so long, one, I did probably like 6 years ago, I did try to go back to eating meat. I didn't know anyone that was vegan. I didn't know anyone that was vegetarian. I don't even think. I was by myself. It was very lonely. I got made fun of because it wasn't popular. Like, I mean, think 10 years ago, maybe 12, like no one was doing that. No one was talking about that. So I felt very alone. All of my friends made fun of me. You know, I am a Christian. So in the church, that was just like, what is wrong with you? Like, we eat meat. Like, this is of God, you know, and I was just like, I don't want to eat meat. No, you know? So, I mean, everyone's just like, against what I was doing. And so that peer pressure, you know, like maybe 4 years in, it really started to get to me. And I was just like, well, maybe I should eat meat. And so I tried to go back to eating meat, and I was so sick, like so sick. And I'm not just talking about like throwing up. Like, I had congestion. I kept getting sinus infections. I was getting bronchitis. Like, my body literally was rejecting it. And so I finally watched another, I think it was Forks Over Knives maybe, and it just rejuvenated, like, you know what? Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not going to eat meat. I don't want to do this. It doesn't make me feel good. I had gained a ton of weight at that time. And so I was just like, I'm done. And so I think for me, like, it's so many different reasons, and that's why it keeps me going. So it's like the animal abuse for me is something I don't want to support. As much as possible. You know, the health aspect, I do think that the more fruits and vegetables that someone eats, the healthier that they're probably going to be. The workers don't get treated very well. There's whole documentaries that are just about the way that these people are treated inside of the factory farms and inside of these farming industries. From a spiritual aspect, I felt closer in my relationship with God by not trying to consume animal products. That's my personal conviction, because I'm not saying it's a sin to eat meat, because it's not. But it just, for me, spiritually, I felt more clear-minded, more centered. And honestly, it's also kind of cheaper in a lot of ways, depending on how you go about your plant-based lifestyle. Eating beans and rice is very cheap. Meat is expensive. Like, I don't know why people be out here lying to themselves. Like, meat is expensive. So I also think from a financial perspective, it can be a more cost-effective way to eat and live. And so it just overall made me like a better person, in my opinion. And I liked it, and I liked the foods. And I was definitely one of those people. I ate, you know, plain hamburger and french fries all the time. Like, I did not have a wide range of foods that I ate. And going plant-based, I tried so many new foods. Like, it forced me to. And I was like, oh, like, I've never even heard of this vegetable before. I've never heard of this fruit before. Or, wow. Like, did you know that you can eat carrot hot dogs? Like, like, that's a real thing. You can take a carrot and make it, cook it, and flavor it to where it's like a hot dog. So, like, something as simple as that stuff intrigues me. It's like, wow, this is so cool. And it's like a healthier option, and I don't feel weighed down when I eat it. So I think for me, it's been a very holistic experience, and it's a conviction that I feel on different levels. And it's just something that I just wanted to continue. If I ever decided not to be vegan or plant-based anymore, I think that, because I have thought about this, and people have been asking me this a lot recently, like, do you think you're going to be vegan your whole life? The only thing that I ever think that I would go back to, especially if I lived closer to the water, would probably be wild caught fish. That's the only thing, because I have no desire to eat hamburger or steak or hot dogs or anything like that. I don't have any desire to, eat dairy. But the only thing, and I actually think that if people want to eat wild caught fish, especially if you live somewhere right near the ocean, I don't think that's an unhealthy thing. I think that can be incorporated in a healthy diet. But I'm not in the place where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do that. That's just like, if I ever went back to anything, that would probably be what it is. But I really enjoy my plant-based diet. And that's the other part. I enjoy it. It's not like, you know how people do like a vegan diet literally as a diet? It's not like a lifestyle. It's not something that they enjoy. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing in any capacity of your life, you're probably not going to be consistent with it.
Yeah, you're so right about that. Thank you so much for sharing everything that keeps you going with your vegan lifestyle. And I'm happy you differentiated the difference between a diet versus a lifestyle. It's something that you enjoy. And what you're talking about, just about eating fish in general, if you do live by it, yes, go for it, eat the fish. And that's why, like, a lot of vegans in today's world, they just because it's worked so much for their life, they see it as the only way. I am totally guilty of that. Like, when I first went vegan, I was like, oh, this is great. My eyes are open. It's the Matrix. Like, you have to live this lifestyle. And like, when you get saved and you see the glory of God and all that He saved you from, you're like, you need to be a Christian. You need to get saved. Where there's different strokes for different folks, and there's different timelines for people too. I listened to Rich Roll. He has a really good podcast, and he talks about blue zones. And these are areas where, like, people live to 100+ years old, and these people are eating almost all vegan or plant-based lifestyles, but their body. So they have that wild caught fish like you're talking about. So that doesn't mean like vegan is the only way, because if you look on a world scale geographically, as far as like lifestyles and healthy living, if you live by somewhere that supplies a healthier food demand, then like go for it. And what you were saying, like the whole world was against you whenever you went plant-based, that's a good transition. Entrepreneurship, because whenever you decide to be your own boss and start your own business, it's kind of like, who do you have to lean on? So tell me a little bit about the beginning of wanting to be an entrepreneur.
Man, I feel like it's always been in me since I was a kid. Like, my mom, to this day, she always tells a story about me just always having like a hustler spirit. So like my sister, I have a sister, she's 5 years older than me, and she was in Girl Scouts, and I was too young at the time. And our personalities are night and day. Like, I'm super talkative and outgoing and friendly, and she's just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm shy. Leave me alone. Like, she does not want to be in the spotlight. So she was a Girl Scout, and she didn't. What'd you say?
That's me and my sister, night and day, and we're just like that. I get it.
Yes. So she didn't want to sell Girl Scout cookies, because to sell them, you have to talk to people. You have to like ask them to buy the cookies. And I probably was like 4 years old, and I like took the phone from her, and I was like, give me the phone. I'm going to sell these cookies. And I'm like so little that my feet are like dangling, from the chair. And it was like back when you had the spiral phone. So I'm like twirling the cord with my finger. Right. And I like, we had a phone book, because you didn't even have like cell phones and stuff like that then. So I'm going through her little phone book, and I start calling people, and I'm just like, hi, my name's Elizabeth. I'm helping my sister sell Girl Scout cookies. How many boxes do you want? Like, it wasn't like, do you want them? It's how many do you want? Because you're gonna buy some. And then my mom said they would just start laughing, because my little voice. I'm just like, hi. And then it was like, well, which ones do you recommend? And I would go to this wholesale speech, and I'd be like, well, the Thin Mints are da-da-da, and the Do-si-dos, and this is how much they cost, and blah, blah, blah. And before you knew it, my sister had sold like the most Girl Scout cookies in her troop, because I was the one who was selling them. And I wanted her prize. Like, I saw she had prize. I was like, I'm going to win that prize. She was like, whatever, I don't care. So I think from just a young age, like, my personality was just like brave and bold, and just like, I want this, so I'm going to go after it. So I think it's always kind of been in me. And I've had different little businesses that I've tried to start, throughout my life, even in high school. But I think as, coming into plant-based, when that passion came in, I mean, for years, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I would sit in my room and I would just stare at the ceiling and pretend that I was recording a YouTube video. Like, I'd be like, hi, guys, my name is Elizabeth with Healthy Nuggets, where we get healthy one nugget at a time. And I would come up with little stuff. But I was so scared to do it for so long, like literally up until almost a year ago. It hasn't even been a year that I've done my YouTube channel consistently. I'm 31 years old, but we hear stories like that with entrepreneurs or people who build their own brands all the time, that we just sit on these ideas and we're like, well, I don't have the right camera. I don't have the editing equipment. I don't know how to do this. Who's going to help me? And like, what if I fail? And what if I don't know enough to do this, or whatever. I don't have enough money. Like, I had every excuse in the world, to the point where my friends were like, girl, you either gonna start the YouTube channel or shut up. Like, like, stop talking about it, because you keep talking about starting a YouTube channel and you haven't done it. But everything is in God's timing, right? And so when it was finally the right time, you know, everything just fell in place for me to finally do it. But I'm still learning. And I'm still learning. Like, entrepreneurship or building your own brand or having a ministry or whatever it is you feel like God has put on your heart, it's a continuous journey and learning experience. So yeah, it's a lot.
And that's so hard to remember. So I'm happy you reminded me of that, because you can look at somebody on social media or somebody that has that existing brand or business, and you're like, man, that person's got it all because they have X, Y, and Z. So like adamantly working on something else that we just don't see behind the screens. And I love that you hit on just stopping most people. And they say like most of the dreams in the world are in the graveyard because so many people, they die with them. Like, I don't know that quote unquote, but it's something like that.
What you're talking about. Yeah.
We let fear stop us. And I know plenty of friends that are just like, I want to do this and I want to do that, like you were saying, but they just let fear get in the way. So that's so awesome to see you at 31 years old, just still pursuing your goals and your passion. Is this what you do full time, or do you have something else that you do?
So I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income. So I do a lot of different things. And I used to do even more before COVID, but some of the things that I was doing got canceled out just because of COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not capable right now, I guess maybe is the right word. But I'm a certified group fitness instructor. So I teach group fitness classes at a gym here. So I just got rehired to do that because the gyms just started back opening. So I do that. Before COVID, I also used to do water fitness personal training. So people who maybe had injuries or elderly people, also personal training like in people's homes. So if they just didn't feel comfortable going to the gym, or they just wanted someone that wasn't going to yell at them and make them feel like you have to have this, you know, like, some people don't want to be trained by somebody who looks like a bodybuilder that yells at them. Like, that's what I'm saying. So, but I also do dog walking. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel. I have my holistic health business. I'm a nanny. Being a nanny probably is the thing that I've done the longest. Like, I've been doing that for like 16 years. And then I have people that I do personal grocery shopping for, like not through Instacart and stuff like that, but like privately, like one-on-one. So yeah, I'm a big hustler. Like, I'm a believer in, hey, like if God presents an opportunity and you have peace about it and there's purpose in it, or you can make some money, then why not? You know, so everything I don't do every day, it sounds like a lot more than what it is, because I still have a lot of free time and flexibility. But I'm a big believer in having multiple streams of income, and COVID is a perfect example of that, because if you only have one source of income, if that source of income gets closed down, then what? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I feel like if people are not watching this on live and they're listening to the podcast, they're going to be like, Caitlin, why are you interviewing yourself and calling yourself Elizabeth? Because Elizabeth, you are literally everything in me. You live in Atlanta. I did Rover for the longest. I was a caretaker. That was my nanny job. Those multiple streams of income. And I love how you keep hitting on just God pinpointing you in the right direction. Because for me, with doing all of those things, I had so many hopes and dreams in them, but I knew I wanted to narrow down on one, just to figure out, like, okay, what is it, God, that you truly have for me that's really going to impact the most people And he delivered that to me. And I'm so thankful he did. But startup entrepreneurs or people that want to have their own business, they ask themselves, like, well, I just don't know what I need to do, or what is my business going to entail? Where like God will lead you and show you clear signs for whatever that is for you. And I'm sure he's done the same thing with you launching Healthy Nuggets.
Yeah, and I want my dream and like what I envision is for this to be like my full-time thing. And you know, I have like glimpses and like visions of like where I see myself going. But I think, you know, as people, as entrepreneurs, and especially as Christians, like it's overwhelming sometimes because you're just like, well, how do I get there? Like I see this like image that you're giving me, God. You know, I have the desire in my heart, but like, how do I get all the way over there? Like, I'm just right here. So there's certain things that I'm still figuring out and I'm still praying about, and I'm still just like, this desire is not going away. This vision is not going away. But like, what do I need to do? Because faith without works is dead. So what are the works that I need to do? And do I do it now? Like, you know, it's a journey. Like life is just a journey, and trying to walk in your purpose as well as trying to make money at the same time, because really, you know, everybody wants those things to go like this and meet together so that you feel like you're walking in your purpose, you're helping people, you feel fulfilled, you're not wasting your time, but that you also are able to live, you know, the lifestyle that you desire. And that can be different for everyone. So hey, like I definitely don't have it figured out. Every day I'm just like, okay, Lord.
But that's the beauty in it. Like, that's totally what walking in faith is. It's where you put one foot in front of the other and you have that vision of who you want to be further along, and God's giving you that desire in your heart. And we as humans, we're just so impatient. We're like, okay, I see that, I want that, but I want it now. Where you're totally at peace with walking in faith and taking those action steps to get you there and not letting that vision go away. Because some people, whenever they don't get there quick enough, they're like, oh, maybe that wasn't for me. I'm totally guilty of that. Or they let that dream just fizzle away, where God's taking us through this journey for a reason, because there's different things that we have to learn at each season. Because when I was walking dogs and doing caretaking and doing all these things, I realize now, like, I see the bigger picture and why God had me there. And I'm sure the same thing is for you in many aspects of life. You meet different people. And while we're talking about meeting different people, so tell me how to live a single life, especially now that it's like post-COVID. Like, I can't imagine. First of all, when you meet somebody, you look like this. So a girl in the bathroom, and she's like, so pretty. And I looked at her like, how can you tell? You can see half my face. So dating, you see half the person's face, and that's if you get to see them, because I'm sure a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes or online. So please educate me on how you date in these times.
Dating is really hard. It's so hard. Like, I think when you are an anomaly, I think that's how you say that word, but when you're like a unique situation, it just like narrows down the dating pool. Because like, I'm plant-based, and I don't necessarily, someone doesn't have to necessarily be plant-based to date me, but lifestyle is more so what's important. You guys see my dog? He just wants to be in the life so bad. He just keeps being like, hello. That's so funny. He literally just keeps inching in closer. But
Too cute.
so yeah, like lifestyle, like, you know, having healthy eating habits, having an active lifestyle in whatever way that is, and just being conscious of, you know, their health, their mental, physical, financial. So that can be hard. You know, it doesn't sound like it should be that hard, but you'd be surprised. Okay. So that, and then some people, literally, as crazy as it sounds, some people don't want to date someone who's vegan or plant-based. They just feel like it's too difficult, or they think we're weird, or whatever, you know, idea they have in their head. Like, I've literally met people and they just be like, why? Like, why can't you just eat chicken? Just eat chicken. I'm just like, yeah, we're not. It's like, I'm done.
And I want to relate.
Being a Christian. Oh, go ahead.
On that, but I want to pause you because we had this conversation a few months into me being vegan. My husband, when we were engaged, he was like, you know, I wouldn't have dated you if I found out that you were vegetarian or vegan, because this dude loves fried chicken. Okay, he is a straight And I was collard greens, smothered foods, like fried chicken, and we went to a vegan meat sunflower, and we were hanging out with like Johnny the Juicer and all these other vegan influencers.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was the badass vegan. He was like, "I see a divorce in y'all future."
What? Why did you say that?
Because I was vegan and my husband was not. So I just want to give hope to you and all that, like, if you're not 100% on the same page with how you eat, it's okay. It'll all work out. You got to see past that sometimes. But it's crazy that people will deny you. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like, I don't think it would work for me to be with someone. Again, God can, like, change my mind or whatever, but I don't see myself being with someone who just eats fast food all the time or doesn't work out, because those are, like, essential. I actually tried to date someone in a situation like that. Like, I was like, maybe I'm just being, like, super, like, closed off. So I tried to date someone who was, like, super opposite of me in that way, and we would just irritate each other all the time, because it's like, well, I want to go on a walk and I want to go on a hike. And when we go out of town, I want to find yummy local restaurants to eat at that have smoothies and salads. And they're just like, no, let's just go to McDonald's. And I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go for a walk. I want to stay inside and watch a movie. And so I do think that in a relationship, especially in marriage, like daily lifestyle morals and values are very important, because that stuff adds up, and that's stuff that you can end up getting in an argument about or whatever. So they don't have to be vegan. They have to be respectful of the fact that I am, and at least be like open to just being like, okay, I'll try it or something like that. And then being a Christian, like, you know, in the world, there's like people that are like Christian, there's people that are like Christian. So I feel like I'm one of those people that I actually, and this is no shade to anyone else, but there's some people that are just like, oh yeah, I just grew up Christian. Like my grandma was Christian, so I'm Christian. And then there's people who are like, no, I actively want to incorporate my faith into my daily life. And I want to actually ask God to lead me and pray and, you know, be in a community and grow in my faith and stuff like that. So also trying to find that, it's hard, you know what I mean? And then like, I'm not out here like that, you know what I'm saying? Like out there like that. So like, that's a whole nother thing, because that's what most people are looking for. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, well, and I'm just like, no. So that adds up. You know, you see how we eliminate it, like the pool is getting smaller and smaller. So, and then I'm 31, you know, I'm still young in my opinion, and I'm pretty successful as far as like, I don't know if I should say pretty successful, but I'm very independent in the way that like I have my finances in order for the most part. Like I live by myself. I am responsible for 2 living beings that are dogs, not children. You know what I mean? Like I go after what I want. I've built my career. I'm still building it. I have faith in the Lord. Like I'm confident, like all these things. So I've literally had guy friends be like, I think some guys are just intimidated by you because you're just like, no, I'm not going to take that or whatever, you know? So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Like, I do want to get married. I do want to have kids. But I don't take it lightly. So I don't want to be with someone just to be with someone. I don't want to waste someone else's time, waste my time. So it's an interesting journey. And then you add COVID on top of all that. And it is true about the mask, because I was just talking to my friends this weekend and I was like, have you guys ever had someone try to talk to you? You're like at Trader Joe's or something, and then you want to be like, can you take off your mask so I can really see what you look like? Because I'm not sure right now. Because I have seen a lot of people, when they take their mask off, they look really different. And you're just like, wow, I never knew how important this part of everyone's face was.
For sure, because all you see are their eyes. So you just start imagining what the lower half looks like, and you're like, okay. And then you take it off and you're like, oh, nope, change the game. Exactly. But that's awesome. I totally look up to you for accomplishing all of those things, and still just, you know, taking your walk with God and putting that in the forefront of everything, because I feel like a lot of people in today's age, especially, they compromise their relationship that they have with God for satisfactions that are here on earth, when we have to realize, like, what eternity. What matters is our relationship with God. All this other stuff is just, extra. So for you, being 31 years old and realizing that and sticking your guns to it, that is amazing.
Yeah. I do want to say also that I'm pretty sure we both have a lot of women that listen to us. And I do want to say that while I think that there's nothing wrong with having a desire to be in a relationship and get married and have a companion and have children, I know even in the last, year, 2 years, but definitely this year, like I've just been learning to be even more content with myself and my body and where I am in my life. And I think that loving yourself and loving God is probably two of the most important, valuable things that anyone, man or woman, can do. And so I know so many people right now are feeling discouraged, lonely, like, why don't I have someone? But I also know a lot of people who got divorces this year, you know what I mean? Or a lot of people who went through horrible breakups this year. And so I have been reminded that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, especially on social media. So sometimes it's okay to take a break from dating, a break from social media, so that you can love on yourself more and see all the blessings and peace that you have in your life. Because I do think that it's more important to have love and peace in your life than to be with someone and you don't have love and peace, and you're in an abusive situation or toxic situation, or you're just not actually happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of those things are definitely things that we want, I think, especially as women. But I even heard someone say the other day, like, what a waste of time it is in a way as people for us to spend, women in particular, because we are more emotional and relational, to put so much emphasis, and I'm so guilty of this, and that's why it really stuck out to me, but to put so much emphasis on our value being based on being in a relationship or being married or having, whatever, anything relating to that, when you could have love and have joy and have peace and travel the world and eat amazing food and build a business and build generational wealth and spend time with the people in your life that are already there and do all those things that you want to do, buy a house, start a garden, go to Paris. Like, there's a lot of things that like I said, been guilty of, like, well, I'll do that when I get a spouse, or I'll do that when I have a boyfriend, or, oh, this would only be as much fun if I had someone. But it's like, wow, like, what a way to put your life on hold. And again, it's not to say that that's not a beautiful thing. I think it is, but it's more of like, let's just live our life now where we are and be in the present moment. And I think COVID is a reminder of that. You just never know when your time is going to end, what's going to happen, when your life is going to be over. So it's okay to desire those things, but at the same time, don't stop living your life or thinking that you're not worthy or valuable just because you're single. So that was really on my heart. So I just wanted to share that. Just in case somebody needed that, because I know I needed to hear it not that long ago.
And this is why you were totally a force to be reckoned with, because you are so strong, you're so inspiring. I look at your stuff all the time myself. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. It has been a pleasure talking to you. We're like approaching an hour now. So
oh my gosh.
I know I really keep going with you, but Monica was saying, she said, I'm lucky to have pretty eyes. It's one of the most complimented features. Well, Monica, you are lucky, but you're beautiful all around. And I know you're so beautiful because like everything Elizabeth was talking about, you have in you too, Monica. So I hope that inspires you. Everybody listening to the podcast, definitely share your reviews on our Facebook group, the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. That's where we're at on Facebook, so you can check us out. Elizabeth, did you have anything else you wanted to leave our listeners with?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to actually connect with you in this way. And if people do want to connect more with me, they can connect with me on my YouTube channel. Like I said, I post on there every week. So my YouTube channel is Healthy Nuggets. And then my Instagram is healthy_nugget. So people can definitely connect with me more there. And I would love to bring you on my YouTube channel. So maybe we can do a whole nother interview and I can interview you.
We'll turn the tables and you can interview me, but I'm already subscribed to you, so I'm ready to go. I get the little ding notification every time you drop a new one. So you guys go look her up on Instagram if you want to continue to live a healthier life. Thank y'all so much for watching and interacting with us. Stay tuned for another episode of the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.